Up on stage. First, Michelle. There you go.
Thank you.
And in your right hand or your left hand.
All right, there, we can do this. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I've been asked to say just a few words about the Municipal Natural Assets Initiative and how, what our initial thinking and testing is with relation to this. So, to start, I really wanted to start with a quote from Joseph Stiglitz. He's a Nobel Prize-winning economist, and he noted that what we measure affects what we do. If we have the wrong metrics, we will strive for the wrong things. As an economist, the mandate of economics is how to allocate scarce resources to their best and highest use. Now, economics generally doesn't include nature or natural services into the discipline. The latest version of the discipline was developed in the early 1930s. In the early 1930s, ecology wasn't really a very developed discipline at that time. The population was low, and most importantly, nature seemed limitless. So nature didn't seem like a scarce resource that needed to be factored into the discipline of economics. Today we recognize that it is growing scarce, that natural resources are hitting limits, and it's ripe. The time is ripe for it to be incorporated into economics. So there's been a lot of work done over the last couple decades to start to incorporate nature and nature services into economics, and I think that the work that we're doing with the Municipal Natural Assets Initiative is helping to move this along. What we're doing is we're working with 5 different local governments, 3 in BC and 2 in Ontario. And we're working to test how nature can substitute, how it can safeguard, and how it can complement existing engineered infrastructure systems. We want to see if we can do that more efficiently, and more cost effectively than engineered systems. So what we're doing at the end of the day is asking these 4 questions, 4 standard asset management questions. The first is, what natural assets do you own, do you manage, or are you responsible for? So just like every municipality has a clear inventory of their engineered infrastructure, they should understand what their natural infrastructure is as well. Secondly, what flows or benefits do these assets produce for the city and the wider community? This is that condition assessment question applied to your natural infrastructure. So a city needs to understand how their key environmental assets are providing infrastructure services, what the capacity of the environment to do that is, and whether that can be improved. We're doing that with hydrological models. They're telling us about the capacity of the assets to provide the services of concern. So how much water is a stream conveying? How much is it able to store? How much is infiltrating and perhaps recharging your aquifer? The third question is, what is the value of those benefits? This can be the very contentious question. There are a range of methodologies that are accepted for putting a value on nature's services. What we've gone with, at least with Gibson's to start, and we'll see how it works with the pilot communities, is using a market-based approach. What we do is we ask how much it costs a municipality to replace natural services if they weren't there. So if that wetland was no longer in your community, and you had to look to engineered infrastructure to provide the same range of services, that is going to cost you something. And at a minimum, that cost is the value of that natural service. The last question that we need to consider is what it costs to maintain and monitor those natural assets. Although you often hear people say that nature provides services for free, at the end of the day, communities do face very real costs to maintain and to monitor those natural assets. So if we want to see these services provided to a community in the long run, then we need to calculate those costs, to understand those costs, so they make it into government budgets. Oops. Okay, one last thing is, unlike man-made infrastructure, which is designed for a very specific purpose, of course, nature is multifunctional. We've been hearing a lot about the range of ecosystem services that nature provides us. Although we might not be able to, and although we might not even want to, put dollar values on each and every service that nature provides, we want to make sure that we don't lose some of those benefits by focusing just on kind of the infrastructure-related category of natural services. So as we're walking through these pilots, we're making sure to take note of those additional benefits that are of concern to local governments, things like wildlife habitat, things like recreation, things like the health benefits that a community obtains from spending time in nature. And we're making sure that those aren't lost in decision making. We're using tools like beneficiary assessment and multiple account analysis to do those sorts of things. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jim to talk about his work.